Ethan and Sarah had always seemed like the perfect couple, young, vibrant, and deeply devoted to one another. Their marriage, just over a year old, was built on what Ethan believed was an unshakable foundation of love and trust. But one night, an unexpected conversation shattered that illusion, setting off a chain of events that would lead to an irreversible betrayal and a cold, calculated revenge. It began with a casual question from Sarah, one that Ethan never anticipated. "Have you ever thought about being with another woman? If you had the chance, would you take it?" Her tone was light, almost playful, but something in her eyes made Ethan uneasy. Without hesitation, he answered with unwavering certainty, "No. You are all I have ever needed." Instead of appreciation, Sarah's reaction was unsettling. Her expression twisted in disappointment, and she muttered something under her breath. Confused, Ethan pressed her, asking what was wrong. That's when she dropped the bombshell that left him speechless. "I just find it hard to believe," she said, her voice laced with skepticism. "Before we got together, you had experience, and I had almost none. And now, there's this really attractive guy at work, and I've been thinking, maybe I'd like to go out with him. Just once. Or maybe more." Ethan felt the air leave his lungs. The woman he loved, the one he had pledged his loyalty to, was speaking as if what she was suggesting was nothing more than a simple indulgence. His mind reeled as she continued, her voice growing more assured. "One person can't fulfill all my needs, Ethan. It's purely physical, nothing emotional. It doesn't mean I love you any less." The betrayal settled in like a knife twisting in his gut. The words felt surreal, as if spoken by a stranger. Doubt gnawed at his mind, but suspicion quickly gave way to cold, calculated resolve. That night, after Sarah had fallen asleep, Ethan did something he never thought he would. He went through her phone. His hands trembled as he scrolled through messages and photos, uncovering far more than he had feared. Explicit texts, intimate pictures, exchanges filled with desire and deceit. The next morning, when he confronted Sarah, she didn't deny it. Instead, she responded with shocking indifference. "Yes, I've been sending him pictures," she admitted, her tone almost casual. "They're different from the ones I've shared with you, but it's just physical intimacy, Ethan. I still love you. I just need to explore and get this out of my system." Ethan's world collapsed around him. The woman he married, the one he thought he knew, had transformed into someone unrecognizable. And then came the final insult. "Why don't you have some fun too?" she suggested. "You've always liked our role-playing games. Maybe this could be another version of that? I could even record it for you." It was no longer just betrayal, it was humiliation, and something inside Ethan broke. As Sarah became more emboldened in her escapades, Ethan remained outwardly composed, masking the fury that brewed beneath the surface. He knew that confronting her with emotions would be useless. Instead, he devised a plan, a methodical, ruthless way to make her pay. He started small, planting seeds of doubt. He saved every incriminating message and photo, carefully compiling evidence of her infidelity. Then, he reached out to the one person who could turn Sarah's world upside down, her colleague's girlfriend. He subtly hinted at the affair, providing just enough proof to spark suspicion. The cracks in their relationship formed quickly, and soon, Sarah's lover found himself ensnared in his own web of deceit. But Ethan wasn't done. Using the information he had gathered, he began spreading carefully crafted rumors about Sarah at her workplace. Fabricated stories of multiple affairs circulated, whispered conversations turned into office gossip, and soon, even her boss took notice. Sarah, oblivious to the growing storm around her, continued to indulge in her reckless behavior, unaware that her reputation was crumbling beneath her. The final blow came one evening when Sarah returned home, expecting the usual cold silence from Ethan. Instead, she was met with an unreadable expression and a chilling statement. "I've spoken to your colleague's girlfriend. And to your boss." Her face paled. For the first time, she realized the game was up. The power she once held over Ethan had vanished, replaced by something far more dangerous, his unwavering resolve. "I've filed for divorce," he continued, his voice devoid of emotion. "And I've ensured that your actions won't go unnoticed." Sarah's protests were instant, her pleas desperate. But Ethan merely handed her the damning evidence, watching as she crumbled beneath the weight of her own choices. It was too late. The damage was irreversible. But revenge, he soon discovered, was a hollow victory. Even as Sarah lost everything, her job, her reputation, her friends, Ethan found no satisfaction in her suffering. The wound her betrayal left in him was still raw, and no amount of retribution could undo the pain. Still, the part of him that once loved her was gone, replaced by something colder, something darker. He had destroyed everything she held dear, but as he walked away from the ruins of their marriage, an unsettling question lingered in his mind. Was this truly the end? Or was there more to come? Sarah had lost more than just her self-esteem. Her financial independence was gone too. Her ex-husband, Ethan, had ensured it. His lawyer, a ruthless and calculating strategist, had masterfully maneuvered the divorce proceedings to leave Sarah with almost nothing. Despite being the primary breadwinner throughout their marriage, she now stood empty-handed. Ethan held all the power, and with Sarah's recent suspension from work, brought on by a scandal he had deliberately orchestrated, her position in court had crumbled entirely. Calm and composed, Ethan played the role of the heartbroken, wronged husband with chilling perfection. He presented an overwhelming collection of evidence, text messages, photos, and even video recordings, all appearing to confirm Sarah's long-term affair with a colleague. The narrative was airtight. Sarah was reckless, selfish, and solely responsible for the collapse of their marriage. In contrast, Sarah sat in court like a shadow of her former self. Once confident and commanding, she now looked broken, stripped of the very essence that had defined her. The judge remained indifferent to her suffering, and the final verdict was devastating. Ethan was granted the majority of their assets, while Sarah lost everything: her job, her friends, her marriage, and, most painfully, her sense of independence. Ethan had executed his plan flawlessly. He had watched Sarah's world collapse, each piece falling into place exactly as he had intended. Satisfaction should have been his, yet as he returned to his now empty apartment, an unexpected feeling settled over him. The victory he had chased so relentlessly felt hollow, its taste bitter and unfulfilling. He had anticipated the pain of betrayal, steeled himself against it, and ensured Sarah paid the ultimate price. But now that the battle was won, a disturbing thought gnawed at him. Why did he still feel so angry? He had expected revenge to bring relief, to grant him the peace he had been seeking. Instead, it only deepened the darkness inside him. He had become something else, cold, unrecognizable, consumed by his thirst for retribution. As weeks stretched into months, Ethan's isolation grew. He had severed most of his relationships, too blinded by vengeance to see the damage he had inflicted on his own life. Now, with his mission complete, the wreckage of his choices became undeniable. He had focused so much on making Sarah suffer that he had neglected his own need to heal. One quiet evening, his phone buzzed, breaking the silence that had become his constant companion. A message from Sarah. Short, devoid of anger or desperation. "I'm sorry. I lost everything, and it's all my fault. I just hope that one day you can forgive me." Ethan stared at the screen, rereading the words again and again. Forgiveness. The concept felt foreign. He had convinced himself that revenge would bring closure, a sense of justice. But in the emptiness of his life, he finally saw the truth. Destroying Sarah had not mended the wounds in his soul. It had only made them deeper. Without responding, he deleted the message and switched off his phone. He had achieved everything he set out to do, but in the end, he was left alone, staring into the void his choices had created. He had believed the moment of triumph would bring satisfaction, but now the cruel illusion had shattered. The weight of his actions crushed him, and he was left with one undeniable reality. Revenge, no matter how justified it may seem, could never heal the pain of betrayal. And so, the story ends. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel.